Welcome to the Evalesco Healthy, Wealthy and Happy podcast. The information provided on and made available through this video and podcast does not constitute as financial product advice. The information is of a general nature only and does not take into account your individual objectives, financial situation or needs. It should not be used, relied upon or treated as a substitute for specific professional advice. We recommend that you obtain your own independent professional advice before making any decisions in relation to your particular requirements or circumstances.
Welcome to the Evalesco Healthy, Wealthy and Happy podcast. My name's Jeff and I'll be your host today. I'm very pleased to be joined by Evalesco Mortgage Broker Extraordinaire Kristi Teasel. Thanks for coming along, KT.
Thanks, Jeff.
Today we're going to be talking about the frequently asked questions that are posed to the lending team at the moment, so quite current and topical. But before we kick that off, as we always do, we're going to be talking mostly about wealthy stuff, so we want to start with some healthy and happy stuff. So what is it that makes you healthy and happy, Kristi?
I would have to say going to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. It's really made a big difference in my overall health, and as well as focusing on my diet, which then leads into the happy aspect as well. So, yeah.
So being healthy helps you to be happy?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a common thread there. I'm an early morning person as well. I think lots of people watching and listening probably not so keen. I know somebody behind the camera there shaking her head saying not for her. But I think I enjoy starting the day with a bit of exercise as well. I think it's a good way to kick it off.
Because, by the time you finish work, you can easily not go to the gym, but I find if you get it over and done with in the morning, it's you're more likely to get it done. So
excellent. Yeah. Good work. And follow up with a bit of netball at night time as well.
Yeah, just a few games.
Yeah, good stuff. So as I said, we're going to be talking about what are the frequently asked questions that you're hearing at the moment. Some of the particularly topical ones, some of them I guess are more timeless. Common question you're seeing at the moment is, can I refinance my loan? And if so, how do I do that? So what are you thinking there?
Yeah, so we can definitely look at refinancing, given with the interest rates coming down. They're still quite high, so it might affect some people being able to pass the serviceability, given they are that's still a higher amount. But we can definitely look at refinancing. Basically, it would be me looking at serviceability to see if you qualify. And if that doesn't work, we can also, put in a pricing request with your current lender and see if we can to get a better rate with your current lender. So there's definitely options out there.
Yep. So the serviceability, am I right in saying with the serviceability, because rates are higher and then the banks have to add on a margin on top of that as well,
Correct.
It means you need more income to be able to pay off the same amount of loan as you would have 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And so if you took out a loan 2 or 3 years ago, maybe that was servicing okay. We know things are getting tighter now, but then the banks have to put in that margin as well, so it's a bit trickier.
It is, yeah.
Is it also true that some of the banks, that is becoming a little bit more competitive again now? Some of the banks are looking, as you said earlier, reducing the rates, maybe looking, looking for a bit more business and be able to do some deals? Yes,
and we've also seen a few lenders offering cashback as well. So between $2,000 to $3,000 to refinance with them.
Oh, wow.
It's definitely starting to get a little bit more competitive than it was, probably halfway through last year. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely seeing some changes there.
I think that's a good sign, isn't it? That possibly, some of the banks were a bit scared off for a period of time. They didn't really want new business and serviceability was a challenge. But now with those cashbacks, it's one lever they can pull to get some business and shows they're open to it, which is great. So watch this space, maybe some good opportunities and certainly worthwhile asking the question.
Definitely. And we're always monitoring the market. So who knows what's in 6 months' time. It might be even better than they are right now. So, yeah.
Very good. Question number 3 from the frequently asked questions. Can I access equity in my home to renovate?
Yes, you can definitely access equity. I guess most lenders will look at how much your LVR is. So basically they don't want you to go over 80%. because as soon as you go over 80%, that's when LMI or lender's mortgage insurance will get charged. So depending on how much you're owing on the loan and what your property is valued at, just basically take the 80%, subtract what's sort of outstanding, and that's still usable equity that you can potentially be able to use. Again, we'd have to look at serviceability to see if you could service additional funds, but it's definitely an option that we can look at.
Mm-hmm. So to put that through a bit of an example, if you've got a home which is worth $1 million and you've paid down the loan a little bit, you owe about $500,000, then up to 80% would give you access to about $300,000 that you could potentially borrow. Now, LVR being loan to value ratio, when you're looking at borrowing for renovating, do they take, because usually when you renovate, it adds some value to your property.
Correct, yeah.
Do they take the new valuation, or do they take the current valuation when they're thinking about the loan to value ratio?
Some lenders will, depending on what you're going to do on the property. So if it's structural changes, they will definitely base it on a higher valuation. But if it's just, updating your kitchen and it's a smaller loan, there's no structural changes to the property, they will tend to use the current value of the property.
Mm-hmm. So when you're thinking about your plan, better to be conservative and say you're going to value it as it currently is, and then get a surprise on the upside when you do the work. Yeah, great. We know that lots of, cost of construction and cost of building and getting access to tradespeople have gone up a fair bit as well. I know you've done a bit of work in that space. It's probably an area to be mindful of as well, isn't it? That it's probably going to cost you a fair bit more than what you think it might and what it might have a couple of years ago. Yeah,
we've definitely seen probably about 100 to 200K, probably more than what a lot of clients are anticipating. So it's definitely to be mindful that it might cost you a lot more than you think. Yeah,
no, good tips. And finally, the age-old question. It's pretty timeless. How do I pay my mortgage off more quickly? And I guess it's particularly topical when interest rates are much higher. It's a bit harder.
Yeah, there's actually some easy things that you can do to pay off your home loan quicker. The first thing would be changing the repayment frequency from monthly to weekly or fortnightly. Mm-hmm. Effectively, it's like you're paying an extra month's worth of repayments down on the loan. So over that loan term of 30, most people have a 30-year loan term, you'll be saving in thousands of interest by just making that simple switch from monthly to fortnightly or weekly. Another option would be to have your offset accounts linked, if your loan allows you to have offset accounts, and just parking your savings or spare cash into these accounts. By doing that, that allows you to pay off more interest off your loan. So for example, if you've got a $400,000 loan and you've got $50,000 in offset, you're actually paying interest on a $350,000 loan. Mm-hmm. And whilst it's not going to change your overall monthly repayments, which I think people get confused and think that their repayments are going to reduce, but it's actually paying more off that interest and then effectively allowing you to pay off that home loan quicker and saving you in interest as well.
Yep. I think it's really important to make sure you understand the difference between offset and redraw accounts. Yeah. Redraw accounts are often more restrictive, aren't they?
Correct, yeah.
And you can't always necessarily pull out as much as what you put in. So some people get caught out with that. So if you're thinking about that type of strategy and you've got some savings, have a chat to Kristi. Make sure you get that structure right, and potentially look at another bank if you can't have an offset account. Look at another bank or some options there, because that gives you great flexibility by having that offset account. I think the other thing is, at the moment with cost of living increase, interest rates, is just to be really mindful about where you're spending money, and maybe you need to, reduce some of your expectations in some areas. That it might not be the best time to try and pay heaps extra off your loan, because you need to keep meeting your other expenses. But if you can, build up a buffer, save in other areas, and allocate that to your offset account, gives you a bit of room to move as well.
Yeah, and you still have access to it if an emergency comes up. So
very good. Is there anything else that you're seeing on a regular basis, or anything else you think our viewers and listeners should know about in the lending space at the moment?
No, that's probably the most frequently asked questions that I get asked.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom. Anyone at home, if you've got further questions and you would like to know more about your options in regards to lending, please reach out to Kristi. Her details will be included somewhere on your screen, and you can click on that and get in touch with Kristi or your advisor at Everlesco. But thank you for listening along, and have a healthy, wealthy and happy day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Everlesco Healthy, Wealthy and Happy podcast. If you would like to learn more about anything you've heard in this episode, please give us a call on 02 9232 6800 or email admin@everlesco.com.au. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more Everlesco podcast episodes, and stay up to date by following us on Instagram and Facebook.